Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. I recently made this decorative wooden box. The sides are out of red gum and the top and base are out of white oak. I love the way it turned out. I actually used my Glowforge laser engraver to put a rooster in the top here. This is a gift for somebody and they happen to really like roosters, so that's why I did that. This piece of white oak was really interesting. It had a lot of bark inclusions in it, so I chose that because it doesn't have to be really structural. But it turned out really nice. I am very pleased with it, and let me show you how I made it. I had one piece of red gum, so I decided to resaw it into two pieces. It was too wide to resaw at my bandsaw, so I did it at the table saw. I sent it through, flipped it over, and sent it through again. There was a piece in the middle that I separated with a handsaw off camera. Then I just sent them through the planer before starting to cut the miters on each of the pieces. To glue it up, I laid out some strips of tape, lined up the miters, and then added the glue. Pro tip: sand the inside of the box before you have it all ready to be glued. Add just enough glue to stick it together, but don't add too much. You'll just be cleaning it up afterwards. I added a bit more tape to secure it, checked for square, and then let it dry. Meanwhile, I turned my attention to the top of the box. I grabbed some white oak and milled it up at the planer and joiner. Then, I moved over to my Glowforge laser engraver. I wanted to personalize the top with a rooster since the recipient is a huge fan. This white oak really looks good when it's engraved. The box was a bit large when I looked at it, so I marked midway and sawed it into two boxes. Then I used my spline jig to add some splines to the corners. I just used my regular blade for this. I like the look of thin splines, and these are about 1/8 inch. I used my drum sander to get the precise fit for the spline material, and I'm using walnut for that. Then I cut the little pieces on the bandsaw and glued them in. I left the top a little large and used it to visually center the design. I marked where that was so I could cut out the recess of the top to fit it into the base. I did this using the dado stack in my table saw. I glued on the base and then trimmed the excess material on the splines and the part of the base that was wider than the box body. At this point, the box top was still a bit larger than it needed to be. It had the recess, so I turned the box over with the body in place and traced the outside of that. Then I measured a set distance from that line so I could cut it off proportionally on all sides. Off camera, I used a flush trim bit to trim the white oak bottom. Then, lots of sanding. If you're enjoying this project so far, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more behind the scenes stuff and even in between projects, follow me over on Instagram @BrewDaddy. I used the table saw to cut a small rabbet on the outside of the box base. This would act as a shadow line. I cleaned up the lines on the underside of the box lid with a chisel. Then it was on to some final hand sanding. I used my block plane to create a small chamfer on the underside of the lid for a nicer feel to the hand, and on the bottom of the box to give a slight shadow line. Finally, it was time for finish. A while back, I was sent this bottle of finish from Mahoney's. It's Mahoney's walnut oil, and I really like the stuff. I've used it on quite a few projects, and so far, I'm liking it on everything. It goes on smooth, it doesn't stink, it dries quicker than many other oil finishes I've used, and it leaves a great looking finish. Big thanks to those guys for letting me try it out. So I love the way this box turned out. The walnut splines in the sides here really are a nice accent piece, and I just really love the fit and finish of this. The top has a slight floating feel because I recessed the groove there and put a little chamfer on the underside of the lid so it has a lighter feel as you're lifting this. But I just really like the way this turned out. It was a fun experiment. I've never built a box like this before. Let me know down below if you've ever built a box or what you would have done differently. Also, I'll put another couple videos here and here. Please check those out, and if you haven't already, click subscribe. I'll see you next time. I recently made this decorative wooden box, and I want to show you how I did it. I'm really out of practice.